Hey, it's Kurt with Cage Model Works. This is the beginning of another series of updates for the 1978 Corvette buddy build with BG. So, since last time we talked, let me zoom this in a little bit more. Alright, here's the chassis. I had masked and painted the frame rails, so there's a good contrast here. Not too much, but there's a tonal contrast, so it's not just a black sea underneath the car. This is Tester's Gloss Black Lacquer in the bottle, and it was thinned with Tamiya lacquer thinner. This stuff. Alright. And it was applied lightly, so I've got the gloss, but it's sort of a painted lightly gloss, not a deep gloss, but it's definitely shiny. Okay. Alright. Then the engine. I started with the engine. And I had some weathering products. Well, first I painted the oil filter dark blue. It's going to be a AC Delco oil filter. I painted the starter with flat black and the fuel pump with aluminum. I'm actually pretty pleased with how these came out. Didn't get any overages or, you can still tell it's painted with a brush, but it's not sloppy. So then I started, oh yeah, and the chipping worked well, because I saw a couple pictures and there was a lot of chipping right here in this area, and sometimes on the oil pan, but especially in this area in that one car that I had a picture of, and I thought that was interesting. So I've got to do something to darken up, to make that look like dark metal instead of a bright silver. Then I started messing around with some of these products I had in my hoard, engine grime, but I don't know if this is like a wash or what, because it doesn't really say on here. So I put some on with a brush, and it was kind of thick, so then I dragged it with a Q-tip, so that kind of made it go into the recesses and left sort of a film over top of here. Then started in on the intake manifold, because you see in pictures of these gunk on the intake manifold, for lack of a better term. So it's starting to look a little bit more realistic. Anyway, that's where I am with this. I'm going to keep working on it, but I just wanted to show you where I was. Oh, and then the body. Well, it looks good to the naked eye, but, primer will reveal the truth. So this week I hope to prime the whole body and see where I'm at. Alright, I'll check in again when I've got more to show you. Alright, so as I continue to make progress with the buddy build with BG, I have gone ahead and installed the Morgan Automotive Details HCI distributor, and I cut all the boots, and I started running the wires in the firing order, and what I noticed was I looked at pictures of a Corvette engine like this one, and the wires go down, straight down and around, right? So you really can't see the wires once it's in the car. But I'm going to leave off that shield, that shroud, just A, because I don't think I'd be listening to the AM radio too much in my Corvette, and B, I want to show off the wired engine. So, with the way the wires lay, I really need to make sure I put the exhaust manifold in place first, but the manifolds need to be painted a more convincing, rusty, oxidized exhaust manifold color. So, before I start running the wires, I'm going to go and do something with these manifolds. Alright, I looked in the paint hoard, and what do I found? I do have a bottle of, a fresh bottle of burnt iron metallizer. So I'll be very careful with this, because you can't buy it anymore, but this is just the right color. I'm glad I still had some. This is why you gotta buy stuff when you see it. Okay, so I'm back. Here are the exhaust manifolds. I airbrushed these with Tester's burnt iron metallizer, and they look sufficiently distressed. So now I can glue these on the engine and continue wiring. And here we go. Here is the wired engine. I've glued the HCI cap on the top of the cap. So it's some of these wires are a little wonky, but I did the best I could. Hey, it's Kurt with Cage Model Works. I'm checking in with the 1978 Corvette buddy build with BG. So the last I left it, I was talking about, or I did the burnt iron on the exhaust manifolds. And at that same session I also did some work with the exhaust system. And here's the other part of the exhaust system with the catalytic converter. This part of the exhaust right here, if you can see it, actually doesn't look quite as bad with the burnt iron, but there's still a lot of flash here I need to clean up in that mold seam line, because that's not the way exhaust pipes work. And then I had some setbacks today, actually just a few minutes ago. Here's the interior bucket. So I had painted this with Ammo of MIG sand beige, gray, German gray sand beige. It's just the right color. But what I was trying to do was to put a wash in here with the brown panel line color. And it didn't flow quite the way I wanted it to, because I mean, looking at pictures of these in this area here, like under here there's the battery, and I don't know what's under these things, but it looked like it was, you know, some brown, or over time it would just get dirty there, but you know, the panel line wash didn't flow quite the way I wanted it to, so I was trying to pick it up with a Q-tip, and then I wore through the paint in a couple of places, so I'm going to have to repaint this area. And this paint was really a bear to paint with. When I was spraying it, it just didn't want to cover right. It was just kind of weird, like dancing all over the surface. So I got to figure that out. But yeah, and then here's the chassis. I just glued the rear suspension in place. So that's going to need to have some weathering done too. You know, well, I showed you the chassis earlier in this video. The way the light's hitting it, the rust spots and stuff look more prominent on camera than they do in real life. But it's a good look. I like it. And that's where I'm at with this. And I'm going to keep going. And I'll see you next time. Alright, there was one other thing I wanted to mention. Now, I did the distributor. Alright, it looks pretty cool with the HEI cap and everything, and the wire. Oh, that looks a little wonky from where you look at it, the way some of the boots are sticking out. But the problem was that the air cleaner, I didn't think it wouldn't sit right, so I had to carve a big notch here out of the back of the air cleaner to clear the wires. So yeah, that's what you got to do, I guess, when you go aftermarket sometimes. I didn't think to check that before I started wiring it up. Oh well. Those things happen. Anyway, right, that was the other real challenge I had with this one so far. So I'll just keep pushing. See ya. Alright, one more installment, then I think I'll make this video. Okay, so alright, so BG texted me last night and he said, hey, I test fitted the windshield and look, the hood doesn't fit. So like if you the way it sat was the hood wouldn't sit flush with the body, so it's kind of hard to see. It's all just a sea of black and everything. So I did this. So I checked and I taped my windshield in place, and you know, the hood didn't fit flush. So my solution was to sand the bottom of the hood here in this area and this area. And I, to get it done faster, I use 220 grit sandpaper. I really try to avoid using that stuff unless it's really necessary. So in this situation where a lot of material had to be removed quickly, I don't think I'd ever would have got there with 400 grit. So now the hood pretty much sits flush where it meets the windshield. So BG, thank you. I wouldn't have thought of that until last minute. Then I would have had a crappy model. And let's see, so then I did some more touch-up sanding here. I did some more touch-up sanding here, try to make this look better, so only primer will reveal the truth. And I've got a little bit more touch-up to do here, but that's good. Okay, and I did another coat of the Ammo of MIG sand beige, and it went a lot better this time. I made sure to really shake the paint in a paint shaker for a long time. Then I used no thinner, and it still sprayed okay, so I think that was the thing. Alright, so that's what's going on with this. Oh, and then the mirrors, well, these are going to be hard to see, but I had to clean up the mold lines, and I can't decide whether to glue them to the body first or later, but either way I'm going to put a pin in here so it has a better chance of staying close to the thing stuck on the body, and I used my handy dandy Lasky hole starter. Oh, it's kind of, yeah. Anyway, to put a pilot hole there to drill a bigger hole later. So, all right, I'm gonna put this video up, and that's so just so you can see how far I got with this model, and I keep pushing toward the Halloween deadline, which I kind of need to get in gear here, and I should be able to make it. All right, take care.